The deep space vessel Odyssey Reach drifted in the quiet darkness, far from the nearest star, far from any known travel route, and far from the safety of its fleet. It had once been a proud exploration ship, with shining corridors and hard-working crew members who believed they were ready for anything the universe could throw at them. But now, the ship floated alone, wounded and shaking after a violent gravitational storm tore it away from everything familiar. No one had expected the anomaly. There had been no warning signs, no strange readings, nothing unusual until the very moment space itself twisted like a living thing and swallowed the Odyssey Reach whole. The ship had been pulled into a strange pocket of distorted space where nothing behaved the way it should. Gravity came in waves, light bent at odd angles, and time felt like it could speed up or slow down whenever it pleased. Inside the damaged ship, engineer Leah Carter slowly opened her eyes. Her head hurt. Her arms felt heavy. And for a moment, she didn't remember where she was. A faint red emergency light blinked across the ceiling, painting everything in a tired, flickering glow. The last thing she remembered was the loud alarm, the shaking deck, and the captain shouting for everyone to hold on. She took a deep breath, forcing herself to focus. The air tasted metallic, but it was still breathable. Good. One problem solved. Leah pushed herself up, steadying her hands on the wall as the tilted floor made standing difficult. All around her were loose cables, broken panels, and tools that had been thrown by the impact. The corridor she had been walking through was now sealed off by a heavy emergency door that had locked itself during the chaos. She tapped her wrist communicator. Carter to bridge. Captain, do you read me? Silence. The small screen on her wrist flickered weakly, then turned black. No connection. Great, she whispered to herself. Cut off. Perfect. But Leah Carter was not the type to panic easily. She had worked on more than one failing system, patched more than one dying engine, and saved the ship more than once. If she needed to fix something, she would fix it. If she needed to survive alone, she would survive. She took a moment to test the lights, but most of them were dead. Only the dim red glow stayed on, making every corner look like the mouth of a cave. The silence felt heavy, almost thick, pressing in on her. Then she heard it, a soft, high-pitched hum. Not like a machine. Not like anything she had heard before. It came from deeper inside the sealed wing. Leah froze. For a moment she wondered if her mind was playing tricks on her because of the blow to her head, but no, there it was again, clearer this time. Like a shimmering note from a musical instrument made of light instead of metal. She picked up a nearby tool for comfort, not a weapon, but something heavy enough to swing if she absolutely needed to. With slow steps, she followed the sound. The corridor opened into a wide chamber, a maintenance bay normally filled with drones and scanning equipment. Half of the machines were floating slightly above the floor, caught in a gentle distortion of gravity. Panels hovered like leaves in slow motion. Loose screws drifted in lazy circles, and at the center of the room was a shimmering shape. Leah stopped breathing for a moment. It wasn't made of flesh or metal. It looked like a cluster of tiny stars packed together in a rough outline, as if someone had drawn the idea of a figure in the air and filled it with glowing dust. The lights inside it pulsed gently, almost like a heartbeat. It was alive, and it was watching her. Leah stayed very still, not wanting to startle it. The shape didn't move toward her or away from her. It simply hovered in the air like it belonged there. Like it had always been part of this strange place, she whispered to herself. What? The shimmering being responded not with words, but with a soft wave of brightness that washed across its surface. The glow brightened, then dimmed, then brightened again, almost as if it were acknowledging her presence. Leah blinked. Okay, you see me. That's good. The being floated a little closer, just a few inches, and Leah's heartbeat quickened. Her instincts told her to run, but something stronger inside her told her to stay. It didn't feel dangerous. It didn't feel hostile. If anything, its gentle pulses felt curious, almost peaceful. When it moved again, Leah noticed something else. Behind it, half embedded in the wall, was a strange metallic structure nothing like human technology. It had the same glowing particles drifting around it, like pieces of the being were stuck to its surface. The object looked damaged, as if it had crashed into the Odyssey Reach during the anomaly. So it wasn't just the human ship that had been pulled here. Something else had been trapped too. Leah had seen alien life forms before, but never anything like this. This wasn't a creature with limbs or eyes. It didn't breathe, didn't speak. It was almost like a living cloud of light, organized, aware, intelligent. She took a slow step forward. The being mimicked her, floating a little closer in a gentle arc. Leah stopped. The being stopped. She lifted her hand carefully. The lights inside the being brightened. It lifted a portion of its glowing form, shaping it into a curve that looked loosely like a hand raised in greeting. Leah couldn't help but smile a little. "Are you copying me?" The being pulsed once brightly, quickly, almost like a spark of laughter. Leah lowered her hand. It lowered its glowing shape. She stepped left. It drifted left. She stepped right. It drifted right. "Okay," she said softly. "So you're trying to talk. Not with sounds, not with words, but you're trying." For the first time since waking up, she did not feel alone. Still, the ship was damaged, her crew was missing, and she needed a way out of the sealed wing. Leah pointed at the broken panels and the heavy emergency door that blocked her escape. Then she pointed at herself and made a helpless gesture. "I need to get out of here. Do you understand?" The being tilted its glowing form slightly, almost like it was thinking. Then it floated toward the emergency door and pressed itself against the lock. The lights inside it flickered in complex patterns. Leah watched in amazement as the lock clicked open, as if responding to some unknown energy. "You can do that?" she whispered. "You can interact with our systems?" The being drifted back to her, pulsing softly. "Thank you," Leah said. The being pulsed again, slow, warm, gentle. Leah didn't know what it meant, but she somehow felt the intention behind it. Gratitude. Or maybe welcome. Or perhaps something even simpler, connection. She stepped toward the now unlocked door and paused. She looked back at the shimmering being, unsure if it would follow or stay behind. It floated closer. "You're coming with me?" Leah asked. The lights inside it glowed bright enough to fill the room. She smiled. "All right then. Let's go find the rest of my crew. And maybe we can figure out how to get you home too." Together, the human and the being of light stepped through the door. Two lost souls drifting through a wounded starship, bound by curiosity, necessity, and something deeper that neither of them had words for. But they didn't need words. Not yet. Not when they could speak through movement, light, and trust. Leah Carter walked carefully through the dim corridors of the Odyssey Reach, with the glowing alien drifting close beside her like a small lantern made of living starlight. Even though the ship was filled with broken panels, scattered tools, and flickering red emergency lights, she didn't feel quite as afraid now. Echo, the name she had silently given the being, was calm, gentle, and strangely comforting. Every time she felt nervous, the alien's light softened in a soothing way, almost like it sensed her emotions. She didn't know how that was possible. She didn't know anything about Echo's biology or nature, but she knew one thing clearly. It didn't want to hurt her. The main problem now was finding the rest of the crew. The ship had been large even before it was damaged, and now many hallways were blocked, twisted, or filled with floating debris. A strange hum filled the air, as if the space surrounding them continued to warp and stretch. "Echo," Leah said softly, pointing ahead toward a collapsed passage. "I need a way around. Do you think you can help?" The alien brightened slightly, its small spark-like particles shifting and swirling, and then drifted toward a side hallway. Leah followed. She still didn't know how clearly Echo understood her words, but somehow, each gesture, each tone of voice, and each expression seemed enough for the being to respond in the right way. They reached a junction where the floor tilted sharply to the left, like the ship had been bent by an invisible giant hand. Gravity felt weaker here, and Leah's boots barely touched the ground. When Echo passed through the distorted air, the particles that made up its form rippled like waves, reacting to invisible forces. It didn't seem afraid, only cautious. Leah had to push off the wall to glide across the tilted floor. She almost laughed despite her fear. Well, at least zero-G training wasn't for nothing, she muttered. Echo pulsed brightly, as if amused. Leah blinked. Can you understand humor? Or did I just accidentally say something you liked? Echo's glow grew warm and soft. Great, she said. We're bonding. With light. In a disaster zone, they moved on. Strange signs. As they advanced deeper into the ship, the distortions grew stranger. A corridor ahead flickered in and out of existence, like a hologram struggling to load. Leah's skin prickled. That's not normal, she whispered. Echo's light pattern shifted sharply fast, sharp pulses indicating warning or danger. Even though Leah couldn't translate the pulses into words, she understood the meaning instantly. The half-fading hallway was unstable space. Stepping into it might tear anything apart. Okay, she said quickly, stepping back. Not that way. No problem. Let's find another route. Echo glided forward and scanned the nearest intersection. Its light touched the walls like soft fingers, and when it found a stable path, it brightened in a steady rhythm. Leah followed. As they continued, she started to understand Echo's light patterns more clearly. Bright and steady meant safe. Soft and dim meant uncertain. Fast flashing meant danger. Warm glows meant reassurance or agreement. Cool glows meant confusion or caution. It wasn't a language, not really. Yet somehow, it worked. A silent partner. Eventually they reached a damaged engineering hub. Half the room floated, half stayed grounded. The lights flickered. Sparks snapped from a broken power relay. Leah frowned. If we don't stabilize power soon, life support might fail. She knelt near a shattered control console and tested it. The screen stayed dark. Great. Completely dead. Echo drifted closer, watching her hands carefully. Then it extended part of its form thinner, more focused, and touched the console's surface. The console reacted immediately. The screen flickered to life. Lights blinked. Circuits hummed. Leah stared. You repaired it? Or powered it? Or something? Echo pulsed modestly, as if shrugging. You can interface with our systems, she said slowly. You're basically living energy. Echo brightened in a quick flash acknowledgement. Leah typed quickly, checking the ship's status. The damage reports were worse than she feared. Hull fractures in multiple decks. Gravity failing in some rooms and doubling in others. Several crew life signs were scattered but alive. That gave her hope. The captain is still on the bridge, Leah whispered. Thank goodness. Echo hovered behind her, the particles swirling gently like steady breathing. Leah looked back. We need to reach them. I can't fix the ship alone. Echo dimmed thoughtfully, then brightened with determination. You're with me, Leah said softly. Good. Together they left the engineering hub, a growing understanding. As they walked, the ship groaned around them. The distortion field outside was getting stronger. Sometimes Leah felt as if time itself slowed for a heartbeat, then rushed forward again. She clutched the wall as dizziness washed over her. Echo immediately hovered close, its warm light pulsing in short bursts of concern. I'm okay, Leah said, breathing slowly. Just space-time nausea. That's a new one. Echo wrapped her in a gentle glow, almost like a blanket of soft warmth. Leah blinked in surprise. Her dizziness faded. She stared at the being in shock. You can stabilize me? Echo glowed steadily in confirmation. So you interact with energy fields, she whispered. Gravity. Power. Even biological stress. You're not just a life form. You're something more. Echo dimmed shyly. They continued down the corridor. The path twisted suddenly, forming a spiral curve that defied logic. Space is folding, Leah muttered. Stepping carefully. We have to hurry. Echo drifted ahead and illuminated the path. Shards of memory. About halfway through the twisted corridor, Echo paused. Its light grew darker, deeper, almost sad. It extended a thin tendril of glowing particles toward the wall. Leah watched closely. Then something incredible happened. Images formed in the air, not clear pictures, but impressions, like memories made of light. Leah saw a great ship made of shining metal and moving stars, a crew of light beings drifting in harmony, a strange storm pulling everything apart, panic, loss, separation, and then, crashing into the Odyssey Reach. Leah gasped softly. You came here by accident. Just like us. Echo pulsed slowly. Yes. You're stranded, she said gently, and scared. Echo dimmed. Lonely. Leah felt a lump in her throat. We're both lost, aren't we? Echo brightened slightly hope. She reached out her hand, stopping just short of touching him. We'll figure it out together. Echo warmed. The crew in trouble. Finally, after navigating several more distorted halls, Leah reached a familiar section of the ship. The doors were damaged, but the lights here were more stable. Echo hovered close behind her. Almost there, she whispered. She heard voices, human voices, weak but real. Leah rushed forward. A collapsed section of ceiling had trapped 3 crew members in a corner. They looked exhausted but alive. When they saw Leah, they shouted her name joyfully. Carter, over here. Leah hurried to them. Are you all okay? Anyone hurt? Just bruises, one said. But the debris won't move, and gravity keeps shifting. Echo drifted forward. The crew stared, wide-eyed. What is that? One whispered. Don't panic, Leah said quickly. It's friendly. Echo pulsed warmly and drifted to the trapped section. The particles inside it brightened intensely. A faint vibration filled the air. Slowly, the heavy debris lifted, as if held by invisible hands. The crew crawled out one by one, staring in disbelief. Leah smiled proudly. Everyone. Meet Echo. Echo helped me survive. None of the crew spoke at first. Then one whispered, I think it understands us. Leah nodded. It does. Not words. Exactly. But it understands meaning. Echo pulsed in a gentle circle, greeting them. The crew smiled nervously but gratefully. We need to reach the captain, Leah said. And we need to move fast. The anomalies are getting worse. The crew nodded. They all began moving toward the bridge. A new threat. As they turned the corner toward the upper deck, Leah felt a cold shiver run down her spine. Echo's light flickered sharply. Danger. A massive distortion pulsed through the ship like a heartbeat made of pressure and force. Lights exploded. Metal groaned. The hallway stretched, then shrank, then twisted violently. Leah grabbed a railing as the crew cried out. Echo flared so brightly the whole corridor lit up like a sunrise. It extended its form outward, stabilizing the space around them. The violent twist slowed. The pressure softened, but Echo's light wavered. It was struggling. Leah held out her hand. Echo! Stay with us! The being pulsed weakly. Another wave of distortion rolled toward them, bigger this time, strong enough to crush the deck. Leah's eyes widened. Everyone brace. Echo flickered wildly, fear, urgency, determination. Then it surged forward, meeting the distortion wave head-on. The wave exploded into harmless, scattered light. Echo dimmed heavily, as if tired. Leah rushed to its side. You saved us. You saved all of us. Echo brightened very faintly, barely. Leah set her jaw. We need to get to the bridge. For Echo's sake, too. The captain will know what to do. And we'll protect each other. Echo glowed softly, trusting her. And the journey continued. Humans and a being of living starlight, united not by words, but by understanding. Leah Carter and the small group of rescued crew members moved quickly through the damaged corridors, with Echo drifting close beside them. The alien's glow was weaker now, but it still pulsed bravely, guiding them forward. Leah could feel how tired it was. Every time the ship twisted or gravity shifted, Echo had to use more of its strange energy to keep everyone safe. They had to reach the bridge soon. The ship would not survive much longer inside this unstable pocket of space. Almost there, Leah whispered as they turned a final corner. A large set of reinforced doors loomed ahead, the entrance to the bridge. The doors were half jammed, tilted slightly from the damage. Sparks jumped from the control panel. Leah stepped closer and placed her hand on the cold metal. Captain Rourke is inside. We have to get these open. Echo floated forward and touched the panel gently. The lights inside its form flickered in slow, tired pulses. With a soft hum, the doors unlocked and slid open halfway before getting stuck. The crew helped pull them apart the rest of the way. Inside, the bridge looked like a battlefield of broken screens and blinking emergency lights. The captain and several officers were working frantically at the main consoles, trying to stabilize the ship's systems. When they saw Leah walk in followed by a glowing alien, everyone froze. Captain Rourke blinked. "Carter? What in the galaxy is that?" "Card." Leah breathed out in relief. "Captain, this is Echo. It's friendly. And it helped me survive." Rourke studied the being carefully. Echo dimmed respectfully, offering a soft pulse of greeting. The captain slowly nodded. "Well, if it's helping us stay alive, then it's welcome." Leah stepped closer to the command table. "Sir, we have a bigger problem. The anomaly outside is growing stronger. The whole ship is being pulled apart." Echo showed me memories its own vessel was caught too. "The only way out is to collapse the anomaly." The bridge crew murmured nervously. "Collapse it? How?" Echo drifted toward the holographic map of the ship, and with a bright but shaky pulse, it created a pattern of light above the table. Shapes formed. 2 ships, 1 human, 1 alien connected by synchronized energy fields. A wave collapsed inward, showing the anomaly shrinking. Leah watched closely. "We have to activate the field generators at the same time. Both our ship and Echo's crashed vessel need to create a matching frequency. It's the only way to stabilize the space around us." Captain Rourke stared at the glowing shapes. "And you learned all this without words?" Leah nodded. "Echo communicates through feeling and understanding. I don't know how, but we connect." The captain ran a hand over his face. "Carter, if this doesn't work—" "It will," she said firmly. "I trust Echo." Echo pulsed brightly, touched by her confidence. Preparing for the final attempt, the bridge crew quickly got to work. Officers rerouted power to the remaining field generators, while others tried to establish a link with the alien ship. The damage was extensive, and systems flickered on and off. Leah leaned toward Echo. "Can you reach your ship from here?" Echo glowed uncertainly at first, then brightened with determination. It floated to a communication console and placed itself against the cracked screen. Its light throbbed slowly, stretching outward like ripples on water. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the screen flickered. A faint shape appeared, a glowing outline of a second alien being, similar to Echo but dimmer, as if far away. Its entire form flickered, as if it were struggling to hold together. Leah realized what she was seeing. Another survivor. Echo's crew. The 2 beings pulsed at each other in rhythmic patterns, fast, slow, warm, cool. A conversation, without words. A reunion. Leah felt her chest tighten. Echo had not been alone after all. Its people were alive. But barely. "Echo," she whispered. "We can save all of us." Echo pulsed in agreement. Captain Rourke stepped forward. "Carter, I need you and Echo on generator control. You 2 seem to understand each other. We'll handle the ship. You focus on the timing." Leah nodded. "Understood." The bridge trembles. As preparations were made, the ship began to shake violently. A low rumbling sound echoed through the hull. The anomaly outside was pulling harder now, like a huge invisible hand trying to crush the Odyssey Reach. Warning alarms blared. Panels sparked. Some of the bridge officers grabbed the railings to steady themselves. Captain Rourke shouted, "Everyone hold on." Another shockwave hit the ship, tilting the floor. Leah stumbled, but Echo darted beside her, forming a cushion of soft light around her body. She straightened. "Thanks," she whispered. Echo dimmed tiredly. Leah looked at it with worry. "You're weakening." But Echo pulsed with determination, still committed, still brave. Captain Rourke yelled, "Field generators ready." The officer at navigation called out, Alien ship is responding. Their energy pattern is syncing. Leah took a deep breath. It's time. Echo moved beside her, glowing brighter than it had since the anomaly first struck. Leah placed her hand on the control panel. Echo touched the same surface. Human technology hummed. Alien light shimmered. Together, they activated the system. Aligning two worlds, a deep vibration rolled through the ship. Energy lines lit up across the console, showing two waves, one from the Odyssey Reach and one from Echo's vessel. They had to match perfectly. The first wave rose too quickly. The alien ship's wave rose too slowly. The two energies clashed, causing the ship to jolt violently. Leah nearly fell. "Steady," she whispered. Echo's glow shifted colors rapidly, trying to correct, trying to balance, trying to communicate. Leah closed her eyes and listened, not with her ears, but with something deeper. She felt Echo's worry, its exhaustion, its hope. She felt its trust in her. She exhaled slowly, and her hands moved instinctively across the controls. Echo matched her movements with pulses of light. Slowly, steadily, the two energy waves aligned. The crew watched in breathless silence as the holographic display showed the anomaly beginning to shrink. Captain Rourke called out, "It's working! Keep going!" The last surge, the anomaly fought back. A massive distortion wave hit the ship like a thunderclap. The lights went out. The floor buckled. Panels exploded. Several crew members fell to the ground. Leah screamed, "Echo!" The alien's light flickered dangerously, almost completely dark. "No, no, stay with me," she cried, placing both hands on the console. Echo struggled to keep its shape. Its particles drifted like scattered dust. But when Leah touched the console again, Echo pulsed faintly, responding to her. Holding on, another wave hit. Echo dimmed almost to nothing. Leah leaned forward, her forehead almost touching the console. "We're doing this together. You're not alone. Look at me, look at us." Echo gathered the last bit of its shimmering strength. It brightened, just enough. The two waves aligned perfectly. A shock of white light burst across the display. Outside the ship, the anomaly collapsed inward like a giant closing eye. The distortions vanished. The ship stopped shaking. And then, silence. Calm. Stable. Safe. The Odyssey Reach drifted in normal space once more. A new beginning. Leah opened her eyes slowly. The bridge lights flickered back on. The crew cheered. Some hugged each other. Others fell to the floor in relief. Captain Rourke looked around in disbelief. "We're free." Leah turned immediately to Echo. The alien hovered weakly beside the console, its glow faint, but present, still alive. Tears filled Leah's eyes. "Echo, you did it. You saved all of us." Echo pulsed softly, exhausted, but full of warmth. On the cracked communication screen, the image of the second alien dimmed, then brightened, sending a pulse that echoed across the console. A thank you, a greeting, a beginning. Captain Rourke stepped forward. "Carter, I think we just made first contact. Actual contact. Not with words, but with understanding." Leah smiled through her tiredness. "Echo showed me something important. Sometimes you don't need language to understand someone. Sometimes you just feel it." Echo drifted closer to her, glowing gently. Two survivors from different species, united by trust. Two lost souls who found a way to speak without words and understand without explanation.